So, on today's episode of Just the Tip, we're gonna go over laying leg curls. This is an exercise that there's a few other muscle groups that want to get involved because the last thing that your hamstring wants to do is work. Any isolation exercise, that muscle wants to escape work. So you got to be able to use your mind to get your body positioning so that it does do work. So the number one thing that happens with a laying leg curl is people do a lot of torquing, right? And the torque happens from your pelvic tilt. So the reason that we torque so much when we're doing leg curls is because your femur bone is attached to your hip. So I can not move my leg at all. If I twerk like this, then what's happening is there's a transfer of energy happening. And that's why this bench is shaped like it is. Because back in the 40s and the 50s and the 60s, leg curl machines, they looked like a massage table with a pad off the back of it. And I actually like those best because that's a really good reference point. What happens here is there's a lot of creeping that happens. So what we see a lot is this stuff, right? Coming down, only like we're leaving a quarter of the rep out of the equation, and then we're going from one position of posterior pelvic tilt to harder, right? And it's like hypolodorsi with the lower lumbar going on. And you can like drive a car underneath my hip in this pad. So to really isolate your hamstrings, the first step is focus on full range of motion. And that means make sure that there's as much tension on the lower end of your hamstring to get those weights to separate. And the way you do that is to get your hips into a position kind of like a dog taking a shit. Like, I think, not Billy Crystal, not Dana Carvey, but one of the guys that was on Saturday Night Live, he had a character where he walked around like this all the time. And if you actually get into this position when you're doing your leg curls, if you get your hip and your butt, so again, it looks like a dog taking a dump, then you're really gonna be able to isolate your hamstrings. So I'm actually pulling under here. I'm squeezing a little bit with my glutes, and I'm making sure that I can grind all of my pelvic girdle into this bench, where before I was raising up and there's a big gap like you drive a car between here, closing that space up. And just with that, you see how we separated the weights? And my leg is still extended. So there's a lot more tension all the way down on that hard to reach distal area of my femur. Can't really talk when I'm doing them that way, especially because this is the end of my leg workout. But you can tell, like, there's your paycheck. I'm fucking sweating bullets just from doing a few reps with a little bit of weight. So that's just the tip on laying leg curls.